Welcome everybody. Today we are going to talk about the first use of an LS42, starting with the configuration and then the connection to this equipment. For this tutorial you will need soft tools available on our website, Bluetooth USB key approved by Lacroix Sofrel. Don't forget to uninstall all Bluetooth components on your computer before connecting the key to avoid conflicts between the Bluetooth of your computer, if you have one, and the Bluetooth of the key. And of course an LS42 and the magnet provided with. Now let's get started with the configuration of the LS42 in Soft Tools. The first thing to do is a right click, New RTU and LS42. So, as you can see on this window, we can choose the name of the LS42. You also have a command section and the location where the equipment will be installed. So, now you have the configuration without that you can skip. This is what you will see at the beginning. Well, we have to configure each input of the data logger. Let's create a standard meter. We can, in this standard meter, configure the liter per pulse and also choose if we want the average flow to be communicated. We have also a signaling information for intrusion, for example. You can configure the timeouts here and also the communication. And finally, you have the analog input for a pressure sensor, for example. In communication, you have the access code you can modify. By default, it's 0. You have the site number also. Then you have the choice between SCADA, web server, which is WebLS, and then the SCADA with the configuration. For each one, you have the access point name to modify, the username and the password provided by your operator, and the IP address of the router if you have one on your SCADA. In the section Archiving and Reports, you can configure the period of the calculation of average flow and the measurement on the AI. In Warnings, you can configure the LS42 to send an alert if there is an intrusion or if you exceed a threshold. Okay, we have a configuration ready to be sent to the LS42. We can save the configuration and exit. Let's continue with the connection. First of all, before trying to connect on the equipment, we have to wake it up. As you can see on this video, we place the magnet 2 seconds and wait for the blue LED to stop blinking. Then we have to write the configuration on the LS42. You have the access code to fill and then click on OK. The serial number of the LS42 will appear. Just click on it and then OK. In this window we can see that we can read the configuration or write the configuration. Now that the LS is well configured, you have to wake it up again. And then we are going to connect on the equipment. Just click on Connect, fill with the access code and then click on OK. We are connected on the LS42. By default you are in the installation window. Here you can see your inputs and their actual values. You can modify the index of the standard meter here. You can also see the status of the digital input. The red icon on the analog inputs is on because the sensor is not connected. You can power the analog inputs to see the value directly on this line. In GSM tests, you have the possibility to do some tests about the communication, like the reception level, the mobile communication, the best operator, the inter-RTU and the SCADA communication. In this tutorial, I want to communicate with a web server, so I will do a SCADA communication test. We can see the test in progress. It takes about 2 minutes and then you have the result. Let's move on to the data point section. Here you can see each data point you have in your LS42 and you can display queries or create Excel files. Now let's go in the exceptions menu. This menu is used when you have to change the communication period without writing a new configuration. It allows us to keep the values in the device because at each configuration writing, you erase all the archives and timestamps of your configuration. This menu is used to send information to a SCADA during short period for diagnosis or to verify the value archived by your digital input or by the sensor. The settings only last for the period you set. In SCADA communication, you can see the SIM card status, if the modem is registered, the reception level, and if the last communication with the SCADA was okay. In power management, you will have the battery remaining, the communication information, the local activation that you did on the product, and the measurements of the analog input. In maintenance, we can see the log and the follow-up to see what is happening in real time on the device. And we also have the possibility between different resets. Thank you very much. I hope this tutorial helped you. For further information, the documentation in SoftTools should help you. You also have more documentation on our website, Webline, and if needed, don't hesitate to call the hotline.